All right, so I'm going to read from Romans chapter 11 and Ezekiel 37 in this video and talk about the two kingdoms of Israel. A lot of Christians do not understand that the 12 tribes of Israel are not just Jewish people, but they're actually two kingdoms. There's the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, and that is the Jews today. Okay, but the northern kingdom, they were scattered into the Gentiles because of the Assyrian captivity in 722-21 BC, and they were mixed and migrated all over the world into the Gentile seed. They lost their physical identity, but the southern kingdom of Judah, they retained their physical identity. Those are the Jews of today, and that is who Paul refers to as the natural branches, right? But the wild olive tree that is grafted in, that is the northern kingdom of Israel, as well as any other Gentiles who want to be joined into them and be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel by obedience to the covenants of promise and faith in Yeshua the Messiah, because Yeshua, he took the punishment for the northern kingdom of Israel's sin in 2 Kings chapter 17. They did a bunch of idolatry and they did not keep God's 10 commandments. So Yeshua took that punishment and now offers salvation to them and to any Gentiles as well. So they are called the wild olive tree. Okay, but Judah, that is the natural branches. So we're going to connect this to Ezekiel 37 and show how those two sticks is actually what Paul is referring to here in Romans 11. So I'll start here in Romans 11, verse 11. It says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Talking about Israel. God forbid, but rather through their fall salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy, and if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, wert graft in amongst them, and with them partakest of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Okay, so we have this opportunity to be grafted in. So do not boast against the natural branches. Do not say things that Christians typically say today. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about how they say, oh, we don't need to worry about works. We're just saved by faith. We don't need to worry about the Sabbath day. That's for the Jews. We don't need to keep the dietary laws. We can eat pork and shrimp because those rules are just for the Jews. We're getting pre-trib raptured out of here to a galaxy far, far away, but the Jews, they go through tribulation. Okay, that kind of mindset is not what God is looking for. Okay, Judah, that is still God's special people, at least the southern kingdom of it. And the northern kingdom, the Gentiles now, that's who they are. They have an opportunity to be grafted in. So do not boast. Right? Verse 19, thou wilt say then the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold therefore the goodness and severity of God on them which fell severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. Okay, so faith alone, that is false. Once saved, always saved, that is false. You can be cut off and face the severity of God if you do not continue in his goodness. You need to produce fruit. You need to produce works, or you are going to be cast into the fire. Right? So verse 23, and they also, if they bide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? Okay, so these wild branches, that is the Gentiles, that is where the northern kingdom of Israel was scattered. And Judah can be grafted back in again as well. All right, so now let's go to Ezekiel 37. And this is one of the most clear chapters in the Bible that shows the difference between the two kingdoms of Israel. All right, so Ezekiel 37, I'm going to start in verse 15. It says, the word of Jehovah came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick. Okay, and stick, if you look at Strong's Concordance, it can mean a few different things, including trees. And write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick, and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Okay, Joseph, Ephraim, the house of Israel, those are all referring to the northern kingdom. But the southern kingdom, that is Judah. Okay, so Ephraim, the northern kingdom, they are going to be joined to Judah because Judah retained their identity. They are back in the land right now, but there is going to be a second Exodus where God brings all 12 tribes back, not just Judah. Verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. So right now, Israel, the northern kingdom, they are among the heathen. They are not in their own land. They're scattered into all nations, just as Deuteronomy 28 prophesied. They're going to be in every kingdom under heaven. Verse 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. So right now they are divided. It's Isaiah 11 as well. Ephraim is vexed against Judah, Judah against Ephraim, however it words it there. Verse 23, neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. Their idols. Ephraim is worshiping idols right now. The northern kingdom, the Gentiles, they're doing all these pagan festivals from the nations like Christmas, Easter, Halloween. All that stuff serves pagan gods. The God of Israel did not command you to do that stuff. If you are going to serve the God of Israel, the God of Jacob, then keep his commandments, serve him how he told you. Keep the Sabbath day, Saturday, sunrise to sunrise. Don't do all these pagan things like Christmas and Sun God Day instead. That is serving idols. Serve Jehovah, the living God, who created heaven and earth in 6 days, rested on the seventh by keeping his Sabbath day, resting on the seventh day as he did. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David my servant shall be king over them. Talking about Yeshua, the Messiah. His name isn't Jesus, it's Yeshua. And they all shall have one shepherd, the good shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. This will be when the law is written on our hearts. We're not in the new covenant yet, but we will be when the second Exodus happens. Verse 25, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they, and their children, and their children's children, forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will place them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yeah, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So this is where he makes the new covenant. Verse 28, and the heathen shall know that I, Jehovah, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. All right, so after the second Exodus, this is when the new covenant is. And this new covenant is made with Israel and Judah, so you must be grafted in. Stop calling yourself a Gentile. Stop acting like a Gentile who's doing all the ways of the heathen and that is not keeping God's statutes. You have to keep the Sabbath. You have to keep the dietary laws to be grafted in. Keep the covenants of promise. Ephesians chapter 2, that is another very important chapter about being grafted in. So go read that as well. So you must be grafted into Israel, keep God's commandments, believe in Yeshua, the Messiah, and you can be this wild olive tree that is grafted into the house of Israel, and you can be taken to the promised land and be saved.